You're New England and you're desperate, and you got your quarterback, Drake May, a good wide receiver, which they don't have. They have the worst skill position group in the league, but they have the 4th overall pick, and they can move around. Even if the McMillan kid at Arizona ran a 4.48, maybe you don't take him at 4, you can still move around. The draft is coming up. As John Lynch said, our plan is the draft. The Patriots aren't winning anything anyway. So why would you be so desperate as to we got to have Brandon Aiyuk right now because he's the missing piece? He's not the missing piece. I'm thinking like New England for just a second. I'm Robert Kraft. I've won Super Bowls. I'm not dumb. So I'm going to take on $4 and $100 million. I need a wide receiver now for my quarterback. Brandon Aiyuk's not going to be ready now, probably midway through the season. I'm going to put up a 4th-round pick, maybe a 3rd-round conditional if the guy plays well. So $27.5 million for a guy who's broken down, and I need a receiver now for my quarterback. And I'm going to take on that risk. It just doesn't sound like it makes any sense whatsoever on the surface. I don't know anything about the inside. I'm not telling you about anything that I know or have heard. I'm just saying let's use a teeny bit of logic, because I know it's fun to go, Brandon Aiyuk's getting traded. Is he going to the Browns? Is he going to the Patriots? Where's he? It's fun conversation. It really is. And I'm not saying that he may not, just because the Niners might be that pissed off about the contract, about getting pushed to the wall. They might just want to get rid of him, but you have to unload him on someone. 2 to tango. People have talked about Cleveland. People have talked about New England. The latest one is New England. So let me just focus on New England. So first of all, that's New England side of things. Need a receiver now. I'm going to pay $4 and $100 for this guy. $27.5 million a year is what I'm going to assume. He's not going to be ready until midseason. I'm the Patriots. I'm not in a championship window. So why wouldn't I just draft a wide receiver, let him grow with my quarterback who I drafted last year, get skill position players as they come to me, not rush it again, hungry going into the draft. Oh, I'm starving. I got to do this. I got time. I'm fine. We're not winning the division. Buffalo, I can be patient here. If you're New England, why would you do that when you have the draft coming up? It just doesn't make logical sense. Now, maybe they'll do a stupid thing because teams do it all the time. But I'm just thinking about it from the other team's perspective. Now, here's the media lesson. This whole story originates from a guy named Greg Bedard. And Greg's respected in the business. He's a longtime NFL writer. And he started a business, a blog, a website, all this kind of stuff a number of years ago. And it's been fairly successful. I mean, it's in Boston where people just go absolutely bananas. Boston is one of the best, if not the best, sports town in America, just based on the interest in it and how crazy the fans go. So they're into it 24/7, 365. So this guy, Greg Bedard, who's written for the NFL for a long time and knows Boston, has been doing this sports rag for a while. I'm not saying that he's not well connected, but this is where the story originates from, right here. He writes a piece. Before I pop that up there, I should have had the whole piece in context, but what he writes about is, it's an opinion piece, and it just talks about free agency is over. What are the needs for the Patriots still? And he talks about offensive line, offense, a lot of different things. They signed a boatload of guys because they had a ton of money. So he's got a couple of charts on there. This is what they should do. This is what they need. And there's a tiny little blurb in this piece. This is where this originates from. So you got to be careful, kind of, or not, because it's fun to talk about. But he says this as a blurb in the piece. Again, this is not insight. This is not I talked to somebody. There's rumor. There's nothing like that here. He says, just like last offseason, I still believe in my bones the Patriots will find that receiver via trade, the likes of A.J. Brown and Brandon Aiyuk. The latter is the best option given the fire sale in San Francisco, but he won't be ready until at least midseason after major surgery. Of course, T. Higgins is now off the market as the Bengals shockingly paid both receivers. This is where the story originates from. So all these people take this tiny little blurb from Greg Bedard. It doesn't say, I've talked to Patriots officials. It doesn't say rumors are. It doesn't say the Patriots are close to a trade. It doesn't say he's talked to anybody. It doesn't suggest anything like that. I still believe in my bones. I still believe in my bones. That's the origination of this story. I still believe in my bones that the Patriots will find a receiver. And then he throws out A.J. Brown and Brandon Aiyuk. The latter is the best option given the fire sale in San Francisco. Greg Bedard is not nobody, but it's based on I still believe in my bones. Not based on anybody I've talked to, not based on anything that anybody in the NFL has said, not based on anything Adam Schefter has suggested or said, who's become more of a rumor monger than ever. Nothing that 𝐸𝐮𝐬𝐝𝐫𝐿 said. Nobody that any of these Jordan Schultz has said. I still believe in my bones. That's where this is from. I still believe in my bones. I'm sorry, I've said that for an 8th time. And now everybody has taken that and run with it. And all these stories are rumors Brandon Aiyuk, rumors Brandon Aiyuk. All these different bloggers and podcasters and guys like me doing YouTube shows. Because I was like, I haven't heard this. And I'm not saying I'm Adam Schefter, but I know a few people. And I talk to a few people. And I know a couple of things. And I haven't heard anything like this. Now, maybe they'll trade him to New England. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll trade him to Cleveland. I couldn't find any origination of a Cleveland story at all. Not anything from anyone. It's just someone started to speculate it, and they light the fuse and they just watch it go. And somebody picks it up with a tiny bit of credibility and then just says, hey, I've heard the Browns. Where? I've heard the Patriots. You mean because you have a feeling in your bones you've heard the Patriots? Like, he's got connections. I know it. But he didn't say anything about that. He says, I have a feeling in my bones that the Patriots will go after a receiver. And Aiyuk's the obvious one. He doesn't detail how it could happen, what they would give up, whether they would take on 4 and 1/10 of Brandon Aiyuk, $27.5 million a year. There is no details whatsoever, except for he feels it in his bones. And that's what passes as media. And I'm not get off my lawn guy. I'm not. But I'm like, that's where it's coming from. And then people pick it up, write stuff, Greg Bedard said, and then they link to it, and I linked it. And that's what I found is the origination of the story is a guy who says he's got a feeling in his bones. Is this in Philadelphia? Are they freaking out like this? Because it mentions A.J. Brown in the exact same way it mentions Brandon Aiyuk. So are people in Philadelphia? Because I couldn't find that. People in Philadelphia go, oh my God, A.J. Brown's going to New England. I didn't see that. So I think to myself, okay, there's got to be something to this. But it's not Schefter. It's not Schultz. It's not Rappaport. It's not Mayoko. It's not Barrows. It's not Cam Minman. And it's not even Greg Bedard, and I'm not even ripping on him. He's credible. He's been covering the NFL for a long time. He's been, I think, successful with this Boston thing that he's doing. He just says, I have a feeling in my bones. And then somebody writes about it and says, Brandon Aiyuk's going to the Patriots. I still believe in my bones the Patriots will find that receiver via trade among the likes of A.J. Brown and Brandon Aiyuk. The latter is the best option given the fire sale in San Francisco. Okay. That's fine. And you know what? Maybe it'll come up in the draft. And by the way, people who are saying that somehow you're going to take a broken Brandon Aiyuk at the lowest stock that he's ever had as a professional, his stock is as low as it's ever going to be, that somehow the Niners are going to take Brandon Aiyuk in the 11th pick and get to the Patriots pick at 4. Okay, that's jumping 7 spots. Just again, I'm sorry that that the truth is going to ruin a good story, but I have a feeling, I have a saying I like to say, don't confuse me with the facts. I'm confusing people with the facts right now. Wherever the story started from, that's where I tracked it back to. That's silly. So there is no Aiyuk rumor. There's no Aiyuk rumor at all. That's not even a rumor. That's a feeling in my bones that they're going to get a receiver. I doubt the Patriots would spend $27.5 million for a broken down guy. Come draft time, they're not going 11-4, moving Brandon Aiyuk, who's worth at this particular point being broken down, maybe a 4. I mean, what the Patriots or any other team is telling the 49ers, he's a net negative at this point. Like, you're calling him an asset. He's not an asset because he can't play until midseason. What do teams want? Now. We live in a microwave society, especially in sports. What are you going to do for me right friggin' now? I want to make a trade for Jimmy Butler because I want to get good now. I want to win now. And New England's not in a win now window. So if New England was in a win now window, I could see them going, okay, you know, we get him at midseason. That's okay because our record's going to be 6-2. And then we get Brandon Aiyuk back, and that'll be like making a trade at the deadline. So we're going to be in great shape. New England's going to win 5 games next year, maybe. Pretty good defense. Absolutely atrocious offensively. They don't have any weapons, and that's where Brandon Aiyuk comes in, and people do put 2 and 2 together. I understand that. But they don't look at the details oftentimes. The one thing I don't know is how pissed Jed is. Just, good, this Aiyuk thing is killing me. I hate when I have to stamp this check. Like, maybe he's that angry. That whole thing of the draft, to go back to John Lynch, got news for you. The Patriots have one of those too. They're drafting, and they're thinking to themselves, I could just get a cheap guy in the draft. I'm just saying. Like, that's where it started. Brandon Aiyuk's getting traded to the Patriots. Did you hear? Because Greg Bedard said, I still believe in my bones the Patriots will find that receiver. That's where it started.